Yesterday, ESPN senior draft analyst Todd McShay released this mock draft 4.0. There's a look right there. The first round picks, which to no surprise start with a lot of quarterbacks. Okay, it all starts with the Panthers, who trade up to the top spot last month. They select Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud first overall in Todd's mock 4.0. Then with the second pick, McShay has the Texans taking 2021 Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young out of Alabama. They say, we don't care about the size. We're taking this guy, and we're going to win with him. All right, after that, McShay has the Colts swapping picks with the Cardinals to move up one spot to select Florida quarterback Anthony Richardson. Gets really interesting there. But the next quarterback that McShay has coming off the board is Will Levis. The Buccaneers trading up to get him with the 14th overall pick. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about Levis's struggles, but the Kentucky quarterback does provide plenty of positives as well. Important to point those out. One of those being his play on third down over the last two seasons, where he ranked 11th in QBR, 4th in both yards per attempt and completion percentage among 77 qualifying Power 5 quarterbacks. I know Mel likes him. You see Mel with us here. And we see the drop of Levis in McShay's latest mock, Mel, but you still have him very high in your rankings. Why is that?
Well, mock drafts and quarterback rankings are different. You know, you think about where Will Levis is right now on the rankings board. He's in that top 5. But in terms of a mock draft, if he slides, to me, Laura and Dan, that's fine. Josh Allen slid. He was number 1 on the board. Sure. Justin Fields slid. Where was he ranked? Pretty high. So then teams trade up. Buffalo traded up to get Josh. Chicago traded up to get Justin Fields. And here's Will Levis sliding. Maybe Tampa Bay would move up to get him. It's a tale of two seasons. 2021, some really good tape. 2022, I throw it out because he was beat up. He didn't have Wan'Dale Robinson at wide receiver. Lost Darian Kennard, Luke Fortner on the offensive line. The scheme changed. The OC changed. Liam Cohen went back to the Rams, went to the Rams, and they got a new coordinator in. So all these things were going on around him, and he was beat up from start to finish. That's why I give Will Levis a pass on this season and worry more about 2021.
Yeah, Mel, I agree with a lot of things you said. The two notes that I write down, unfortunately for Will Levis more than anything, when I'm watching his tape, no one's open, and he's got no protection. Oof. Now, one of the complaints I've heard from basically everybody was they don't like some of the decision-making. And I would attribute a lot of that decision-making to be circumstantial. You could tell that it's not necessarily dumb decisions, but it's the frustration of the moment affecting some of those decisions. So when I look at this Tennessee clip, this is later in the game, they're getting their butts kicked. Now pay attention to these two safeties. What's gonna happen? Ball's gonna get snapped, and they're gonna go from what looks like a 2-high shell to 1-high. He drops down, he's gonna go to the middle of the field. Now, the pass concept is really 4 verticals. We have a go shot out here, we have a bending seam, we have a tight end, and then a go shot there. Now, the defense is really one of two things. It's either straight up man-to-man coverage, or it's something where we call cover 3 carry. So that corner essentially plays like a man, this nickel would play like a man, and this outside corner would play man-to-man coverage. Now, Will Levis sees that rotation, and what happens is this. He drops back. We can see really good, clean pocket. This safety goes to the middle of the field, and he's going to take his shot to the outside one-on-one to throw this go route. I don't love that decision, but it's 3rd and long, the story of the season. They're down 34-6, and he kind of drives this seam ball, or drives this go ball like it's a seam instead of throwing it to the outside. Now, here's why some of the decision making I say is circumstantial. Because I would say this: since that corner's pressed and that receiver doesn't necessarily win, the reality is this: 2 shots because of the style of defense are, yes, you're going to take that go shot. If you do, that ball should be thrown over the top with a great amount of air, not driven like a hole shot, or this tight end bending on that seam dependent upon that backer. The reality for Will Levis is if that backer drifts inside and follows his eyes, you got a great shot there. If not, you're back on a check down. So can we sit here and say that's not necessarily a dumb decision? I don't think it's dumb. I think it's more the frustration of the moment or the frustration of the circumstances ending up being an interception for Will Levis rather than really a questionable decision in his ability to process information.
Yeah, one thing that goes unnoticed this year, and now people have kind of overlooked, is the lack of mobility and the ability that he had in 2021 to beat a defense with his legs. He didn't have any of that this year. He was beat up, toe injury, shoulder. He couldn't move. He couldn't plant and throw. He was no threat as a runner, and defenses knew that.
Yeah.
Tennessee knew that. All those defenses knew that. Will Levis is not going to take off and run. He can't move. And he had 9 rushing touchdowns in 2021. Same number as Richardson. C.J. Stroud had 0. Bryce Young had 7 the last 2 years. He had 9 in 2021. He had 0 rushing touchdowns, Will Levis did, the last 8 games. That proves the point. He was just basically a one-dimensional quarterback, and that's it. And his arm, obviously affected by his foot and leg. He was beat up. He really was fortunate to even be playing, just gutting it out all year.
Yeah, important points all around, guys. And another piece of the story that was interesting in recently talking to his head coach, Mark Stoops, he brought up the fact that Levis has been with 2 coordinators lately who have NFL experience and who had NFL terminology. He said he thought that would be a really nice plus for him going to the next level. All of this that he's going to learn offensively at the NFL level is not going to be that unfamiliar to him.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.